Okay. Welcome, guests, to tonight's show of Football with Jesse. You're welcome to the More Sports Star Studios. If you're joining us, wherever you're joining us from, let's relax and talk about what's going on in the world of football, this evening. And we're going to be talking a lot about the Super Eagles. We're going to be talking about African World Cup qualifiers. As you know, all of the European, club football, globally is on recess for like just 2 weeks. Yeah. So we will, enjoy a lot of national football, being played. Without much further ado, let us, get into this. Um, let's talk about the Eagles, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So if you um, think about the qualifiers, the heavy eaters, the best, the biggest teams, around, they're doing well. So let's go through the African qualifiers for the 2026 World FIFA World Cup. In Group A, we've got Egypt, Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Ethiopia, and Djibouti. And as you can see, Egypt is miles ahead. It's as good as with 2 matches, 3 matches to go. Egypt is as good as they've sealed their points. So they're leading, that, uh, group with 13 points. Burkina Faso is, after 5 games, have been played. Burkina Faso on 8 points, Sierra Leone on 8 points, Guinea-Bissau on 6 points, Ethiopia on 3 points, and then of course Djibouti on 1 point. Then if you now go to Group B, that is a bit tight because you have the 6 teams in there: Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Senegal, Togo, Mauritania, and South Sudan. So this group it's kind of like what you actually say is a group of death because you've got fantastic football players, but there's something of um, an enigma in Sudan and something unraveling in that group that should kind of like tell us to, oh, wait, something is happening here. Everybody will expect that, okay, Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly Zaire, they are fantastic footballers and they've got a bunch of players that can take them to the World Cup. And you expect that Senegal was going, based on what they've done in the last 3, 4 years in African football and even global football, what they've done at the World Cup itself, you would expect that they will breeze through that group. But as things stands now, Sudan is leading by 10 points. And nobody expected Sudan, and I believe they're going through some rough patches on their home turf. I think there's a bit of war, civil war going on in there. And you can see that as not, they've only played 4 matches actually. So Senegal has played only 4 matches. Sudan has played only 4 matches, but Sudan is leading this group with 10 points. 10 points from 4 games is actually crazy. And now they closed Democratic Republic of Congo. They've played 5 matches and they are also on 10 points. Senegal, of course, I've only played 4 matches and they are on 8 points. Togo has played 5 matches on 4 points. Mauritania, 5 matches, 2 points. South Sudan, 5 matches and 2 points. So this group is really, really tight. I really don't know who's going to qualify automatically, because what happens is in all the groups, you have the the teams that top each group qualifies automatically for the World Cup, and there's going to be a playoff amongst the second place teams to determine who joins them. The one team that joins them afterwards, because I think only 10 teams are going through, into the World Cup itself, the World Cup proper. So I really don't know what's going on in Group B. If you have any inkling as to why Sudan is performing this fantastically, it looks like they're gonna go through based on the amount of matches, the number of matches that they've played. They've only played four, and they have 10 points. So if we judge by what they've done, the next two, three matches, they might get 6 points and they're through. And where does that leave Senegal? Though they've only played 4 points and on 8 points as well. So they have 2 points deficit. So assuming they're playing next to Sudan, they can't even afford a draw. And of course, the dark horses will be the Democratic, Republic of Congo. Yeah, that group is really, really hotting up. And then to Group C, where we've got uh, South Africa, Benin Republic, Rwanda, Nigeria, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe. And this group, the clear leader at this, everyone has played 5 games each, and we have South Africa with 10 points, right? And they are closely followed by Benin Republic. Benin Republic have 8 points from 5 games. Rwanda also have 7 points, from 5 games. Nigeria, that's supposed to be the heavyweight of this group, uh, has not been pulling their weight at all. And it's only just the last game that they were only able to shift their points, total to 6 points. They were on 3 points before now, which meant they've lost a few games and drawn some. Lesotho, 5 points behind Nigeria. And of course, Zimbabwe at 3 points. That's what they've got, 3 points. Uh, so this group is really, really dicey. The permutations are not really, really good for Nigeria, to be honest with you. Of course, there's another round of matches that will be played on Tuesday, next Tuesday, and of course, Nigeria is expected to beat Zimbabwe. But what happens if South Africa gains another point, or Benin Republic gains another point? Nigeria is simply not probably the best Nigeria can hope for. I'm a little bit pessimistic about this. Will be that we're runners up, right? And try to qualify via the playoffs. Yeah, that group, we'll come back to it. So Group D, we've got Cape Verde, we've got Cameroon, we've got Libya, we've got Angola, and then we've got Mauritius and Eswatini. Uh, this is also another group in which the heavyweights are not, pulling their weights, but Cameroon on this group, they've not performed as badly as Nigeria has done. So Cape Verde is leading with 10 points, right? Cameroon is on 9 points. Libya is on 8 points. Angola is on 7 points. Mauritius, of course, 4 points, and Eswatini 1 point. Now, um, I do believe that the smart money will be on Cameroon, because these guys know how to qualify. Even when they play badly, they know how to qualify out of Africa, unless something really bad happens. And to them, then with 2, 3 matches, remaining, I think everyone in the top three in this Group D, they've got a chance. Cape Verde has got a chance. Cameroon have got a chance, and Libya, they've got a chance as well. Let's go to Group E. Now, at Group E, is cut and dried. Actually, they've all played 4 matches each. Morocco, Tanzania, Zambia, Niger Republic, and of course the Republic of Congo. We used to call them Congo Brazzaville. They were part of this group. And now Morocco is leading by 12 points. They've qualified, actually. They've got 12 points, and the goal difference is plus 10. Goals against is just 2, and they've scored 12 goals. So they have 12 points. The closest, rival to them is Tanzania. Tanzania has got 6 points. Zambia is on 6 points. Niger Republic is on 3 points. And of course, the Republic of Congo, no point. That is a bit of a surprise for me, that we have even Eswatini, a tiny landlocked country down there in South Africa. They've got a point, to prove. Okay, that is the state of things across the groups as things are now. I do think that there are some teams that are in trouble here. Egypt is not in trouble; they're going to qualify. They're leading by 5 points, so nobody's going to cut that. Nobody. In Group B, uh, Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo are tied on 10 points. The only thing that separates them, okay, I think Sudan is doing better than the Democratic Republic of Congo because they've only played 4 matches, and Senegal has only played 4 matches, but they are trailing DRC by 2 points. So uh, this is for the neutrals. This is what you want to see. You want to see it play out, toe to toe and head to head at the last minute, and whoever is the best team, qualifies. Whoever can pull something out of the act, qualifies. So that is that. It's not looking good for Nigeria. Nigeria is on the fourth position, and let's have a deeper look into why, that is. Why did Nigeria find themselves in this situation that they're in? And why have they now got a new coach who is Eric Chell, um, who was a coach of Mali, and now is played his first game in charge of Nigeria. He's won it, and there's been reviews. There's been reviews in house, even in more sports about that game, and what that portends for the Eagles under Eric Chell going forward. So we're gonna, look into that, look into who Eric Chell is, because this is going to affect how he moves the team and what it does with the Nigerian Super Eagles. So we will play our, and then we'll come back and then discuss all of that. Thank you. You're welcome back to More Sports. We're reviewing. If you're just joining us, we're reviewing the African World Cup qualifiers for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and we have gone through all the tables, and we've zeroed in on Nigeria as a team and why they're not doing well. We want to see what the team is all about. Um, Let me quickly tell you who Eric Sekou Chel is. He was a former professional footballer, right? Chel was actually born in Cote d'Ivoire, but he represented Mali, at the international level during his playing days. I think he's got the citizenship via his parents. As a player, he was a solid, central defender, mostly playing his trade in France. He played for clubs like Valenciennes, Lens, and Istras. He's not the flashiest of, he's not a flashy player, but he was very, very reliable. At the back, he was a good, reliable central defender. Um, and then when he retired from playing, professional football, naturally he turned his, hands into coaching. And then his break really, came around when he started coaching. He coached around, some B teams in Europe and other, but his major break came around, as the head when he was, made the head coach for Mali's national team. And prior to that, the Malian national team have been, neither here nor there. They've really been they've not pulling their weight, and their performances has been mixed. So they needed someone to guide them, on a consistent, performance metric that is fitting for a team of Mali's, prowess. So it really came to an head, what we could see how Chell molded the Mali national team was at the 2023 African Cup of Nations that was played in 2004. Actually, it was supposed to have been played in the year 2003, but because of some, issues, it was actually played in 2024. And we saw that Mali played um, very good, very good football, very organized, football, and you could see how they progressed to the knockout stages, and they got to the quarterfinals, and they had to play Cote d'Ivoire, the host of that tournament, and they were leading. They could touch, semifinals, but somehow they lost out in the. I think they considered a goal a late goal, and then you know they were out on penalties. If my memory serves me well. Um, and Everyone felt this was a good team. Everybody could want to see this team. They've got formation, they've got a plan, a definite plan of playing, and they have a style of playing. And everybody knew that Eric Chell is an up and coming coach that was going to, do quite a lot. But in Nigeria, where we have 200 million coaches and 200 million football experts. People were looking for a big name, when it came to, filling. Uh, the Nigerian Football Federation experimented with quite a number of coaches. It did not work out. And that was why, after 4 games, Nigeria was down to only 3 points in a World Cup qualifier, excuse me. So, out of nowhere, we got Eric Chell. When it was announced, it was absolutely underwhelming. People were like, "Who's he?" If it were not for the African Cup of Nations, in which Eric Chell became some sort of celebrity, people would have said, "Who is this guy?" But he became the national coach of Nigeria, and the next thing is, what is he going to do? How is he going to mold this team? How is he going to imprint his own ideas on this team? We can say he was a young coach actually. I would consider him a young coach. He's on the rise, and there's a lot to like about his approach to football. Um, and I would like to read some of the strong points, about what his strengths are, the strengths of Eric Chell, what we can expect from him as a team. I understand that most Nigerians don't really view African coaches as top class, and that needs to change. I'm a firm believer that African coaches can be tactically sound and they can be strategically, top notch. So they just need to be given the right opportunity to manage the right, kind of talent, and given some time to do it to prove their mettle. We have Stephen Okeshuku Keshe, who is not with us anymore, but he did. He led the Nigerian team to African Cup of Nations, and they played some fantastic football. We would have seen what he could do at the World Cup, and unfortunately, that bit was taken off him. He could have taken the Eagles to the World Cup. And now let's look at the strengths of Eric Chell. He's got tactical discipline. He was a former central defender. He tends to see things from the back. How do I organize myself from the back, to the front? So his teams are usually well drilled and organized defensively. He builds from the back and ensures his defense, stays in compact, uh, which makes it tough for teams to break them down. You could see this throughout Mali's, AFCON 2023 performances. They were hard to score against. We could see that. Um, he also likes to develop, the players and trust in youthful footballers. He has a good eye for young talent and is not afraid, to give young people chances. Players like under Miley, player like Kamri Dumbia, Lassine Sinayoko, like given big roles, to play, against, the run of, trend of big names in that team. He gave these youngsters, their chance and they seized it with both hands. And, we know where they are. He is also credited to be a strong motivator and leader. So players tend to respond to him well because he's got ability to manage, the men under him. So he's got a calm and commanding, presence and motivates his teams to play with pride. He wants to play with full flow and flair. Mali showed, real fighting in tough matches. They are able to stay in the game and weather the storms, and then they can go out and nick a goal, or two. So he is also adaptable. He plays his game depending on the opponents that is playing on the day. So against stronger sides, Chelsea, sets his team up to absorb pressure, and then counter-attack effectively. That is what he does when he's playing teams that are better than him. We saw it against Cote d'Ivoire. They just sat back, put one or two white players out with a central, attacker, and then when they have the chance, they break in a very fast counter offensive and bang, they can get their goal. But it's got the some of the things that can make you really good at doing certain things can also constitute a bit of weakness. So some of the weaknesses that we can see with Chell is his conservative approach, sometimes. So his defensive focus is focused defensively, believes that you have to organize from the back, and that is the base on which you build title winning squads. But sometimes it can become too cautious, because if you respect your opponents too much, that can create some kind of problems. Also, in Nigeria, traditionally, people love offensive teams. They want teams that can blow everybody away. They love big score lines 4-0, 3-0, 2-0. Sometimes, if you play a game and win with just 1-0, Nigerians are like, okay. And I think that, especially if you're pushing for a win, let's say the game is not going against you and you need to win. Sometimes Eric Chell's teams are too defensive. They're too defensive focused, and they don't attack with flair and pace. And then one of the weakness that has been said about him is in-game management. And for someone like me, um, I do love coaches who can tinker with the team in game. And Slot in both the Eredivisie and in the Premier League, we could see is the tactic of. In fact, the Real Madrid coach Ancelotti is a king of tinkering. This guy can read the game, make changes mid-game, and affect the outcome of those games. So Eric Chell is not in that department yet. He's a bit rigid. He sets his team before kickoff, where there have been moments in the games that he needed different kind of substitutions or to change, the tempo of the game or change the tactics of the game and put some technical players here and change, mix things up. He doesn't do that as much as he should be able to do it. There could be a bit of struggle that way. Prior to African Cup of Nations, one of the reasons why Some nations have not put the smart money on him and get him to manage their teams was because they felt he lacked a big tournament experience. Yeah, you could say that, but after AFCON 2023, we can't say he does not have that big tournament experience. He's got it now, and I think he can kick on, with Nigeria. And if we get to the next Nations Cup, he can probably be given the chance. And probably if we qualify for the World Cup, why not? Why not let him go there, and get that one done? But what might stand one of his weaknesses as well, and it could be due to the fact that some of the teams that is managed have been lacking big offensive players, or they don't have the budget, to get these fantastic strikers, number tens, playmakers, and all of that. But it's been said that Eric Chell, sometimes it seems like fluidity in attack, and you will see some of it if you watch the game against Rwanda. Yeah, first goal, teamwork. Second goal, just individual effort. Yeah, you could say that we had chances to counterattack, but the fluidity was not really there. I'm going to read you, after I finish all of this, I will read you one of the verdicts uh, that was done by one of most sports footballers. He's also one of our experts on the team. And I want you to relate it to these things I've said, about the strengths and the weaknesses of. He did a review of the last match, so you can see the strengths and weakness at play. So his teams will grind out results, and that's good if you need to qualify and you need certain amount of points to qualify. They can grind out results, but when you have low block teams, teams that sit behind the ball, Eric Chell, because of his lack of attacking flair or how he set up his team not to as non-attacking team, as a defensive-based team, it does create some sort of problems. With breaking down those kind of teams. So he has more room to offer creative attacking patterns of play. And I do think that he will be able to get that done with Nigerian football team because we've got flair players. If you look at Lukman on this side, you're like Osimhen. Look at his second goal against Rwanda. That was a strong, creative, individual goal with a lot of flair. And now that he's got these options, I'm keen to check him against these qualities to see if that is going to be something that he cottoned onto and actually implements and applies in the way he manages the Super Eagles. We're going to play Zimbabwe next in Nigeria on Tuesday. We really don't need to defend. We really need to go out and put our stamp on the game early on. You want to see a game that within the first half you're leading 2-0, 2-0. So I will come back and we would review um, the um, the verdict that was written on the last game, and we'll compare it to um, some of the weaknesses and the strengths of Eric. Okay, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is an international break. There's no club football, and there's a lot of international games, especially World Cup qualifiers. It's happening in South America, it's happening in Africa, it's happening in Europe. All of the best teams wants to go to the World Cup, and some of the best teams in Africa wants to go to the World Cup. And when we started, we did a review of all the groups, and then we find out that's some big, eaters in African football that are in trouble. So, and there's some that are like Oman Dry, like Egypt. They're going to be in the World Cup. They're leading by 13 points. The next opponent to them is Burkina Faso at 8 points. So 5 points, nobody's going to wipe that out. In Group B, Sudan and Democratic Republic of Congo, they are like 10 points, 10 points each. They're tied. But Sudan has played one game less. So, and then you have Senegal at 8 points and has played one game less as well. So, yeah, that group is the actual group of death. And then in Group C, we have Nigeria. We have, South Africa, they're punching above their weight. Nobody expects them to top this group, actually. Even Benin Republic, for whatever reason, they're doing superbly well. And Nigeria is languishing number four. So I think it's going to be out of all the big, countries that were expected to stream rule and go to the World Cup. I think Nigeria is in the most dangerous, place. Cape Verde is leading Group D with 10 points. Cameroon is at 9 points and Libya is at 8 points. So it's a tight group. But I would say Cameroon is not in a pickle like Nigeria is because Cameroon can swing something. It's just 1 point deficit, so they can, Cape Verde. Yeah, they're a very strong team in the last 6 years. Yeah, they are very strong in the last 6 years in African football. But do they have the experience that Cameroon has got? Or the pedigree, the history in this kind of games, that Cameroon has got? I don't think so. And then, of course, the Group E, um, Morocco is leading that group by 12 points. The closest rivals to them is Tanzania, and they are at 6 points. So I don't expect that they are going to do so well. So that is where we are. So let's go and get um, uh, um, review of the game. So this is by Toyib Gidado. He is a professional football with one of the Division One clubs, Premier League clubs in Nigeria, and is also a member of More Sports. This is what his review was. He said, "We played well as a team. The coach style, the coach's style was evident. He didn't play wing forwards. He played inside wingers. That helped us more with more numbers in the middle of the park and also created space for Lukman, Simon, Oshimen, and Iwobi to run in behind the defense line of the Rwandese and cause havoc. And that was what led to the second goal. He said the only weak link was Chukwueze. It wasn't quite effective as it should be. I hope he comes up with a better performance in the next game. Now, our defense, as usual, was solid, especially with Calvin Bassey being the standout performer among, the back line. The coach also made the right subs, which helped us see out the game. We have a new centre forward in Tolu Arokodare, big, tall, and slightly huge than Oshimen. Overall, we had a good team performance. We just need to build on this in our next games. So I found that review really, when I saw it and I saw the research I did on the strengths and the weakness of our team, and how that will play out in the Super Eagles team, I felt that okay. I mean that kind of like explains what I mean. So the if you look throughout the years, at the when we had the Eagles, I think they were first called Eagles, and they were now Green Eagles, and then they were made Super Eagles. You find out that we have these flamboyant stars with wing play. We always have this wing play, with the best Super Eagles teams, and that means that um, a lot of the times the coaches we are sets out the team to play attacking football. In fact, the Nigerian identity in international football is attacking football. So anytime we have, the only time we ever had some, of course, we've always had some solidity at the back. If you remember the likes of Keshi, the likes of Austin Aguavon, so many names, the Gentle Giant, we've always had, all of that, but they're there. We build from there. But to build the whole unit as a defensive unit, it takes quite some doing, and I think it's not in the Nigerian football culture. So it remains to be seen how Eric Chell as a blend, you get it, as a blend of both, of the offensive and defensive, strategy, and will them into one, you know, title winning, side. And that is the job of Eric Chell. I can say, without mincing words, that if Eric Chell does not deliver the World Cup, people can say, oh, it's down to the fact that we started badly and we experimented with many coaches. At some point, we did not even have any coach. People can forgive that. But if the Super Eagles do not play exciting football, people won't forgive that. People want to see exciting front foot, gang pressing, and flair play. That is what the Super Eagles is all about. So I support Eric Chell. I do hope that Nigeria find a way to qualify, even if it's just going through the playoffs. That would be fantastic. I'll take any form of qualification now because it looks really dicey. I don't see how Nigeria is going to qualify. I think the straight qualification from the group is done. It's done. But you know, stranger things have happened in football, so we'll see how that happens. So we will be back with you. That will conclude what I think is our time, together today. Of course, club football is coming back, next weekend, and there will be a lot, to talk about. A lot, because we are going to talk about the EPL, you know, the denouement, as the French would say, the denouement, the crescendo of 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 the EPL title. Will Liverpool bottle it? Will Arsenal produce something spectacular? I've got quite a few of the Arsenal fans saying that, oh, Saka is back. We're gonna beat Real Madrid now, and then we're gonna, give Liverpool a run for their money. It could be, it may be not. So let's wait and see. And also, if you go over to Spain, the title race is set up in in an exciting way. It's a three-way battle between Atletico, Real, and Barcelona. So yeah, that is what we want to see: a proper race, and that is exciting. And we're going to look at all of the other players that are coming through from the other leagues. We want to look at what is going on the German league, the Belgian league, um, other leagues around, and see what African players are doing. Don't forget, this is more sports, and our primary focus is on black excellence in sports. And we're cooking, quite a lot of things. We are modifying things behind the scene, and we're reaching out, and we'll be coming to you with fantastic, content. So you need to stay with us. You need to join us on our platforms. You need to go to Facebook. You need to go to our YouTube channel. You need to also subscribe, on all of these platforms. Uh, there's our website, moresports.co.uk down there. You can, get there and see what, sporting stories it's going on. So we've got the Zimbabwean lady that we covered that story just about 4 months ago. Now she's the head of IOC. So we get into those stories. We get behind the scenes, what the big, budget sporting companies are not going to bring to you. That's what we bring to you, and we tell our stories the way it is. So I implore you to make sure that you hit the like button and then you subscribe to our channels and our platforms, and then we'll be bringing you more sporting content. So join me next time for more time on more.